My brothers and sisters, have you ever noticed that the loudest battles in your life often happen inside your own mind? You may look completely calm on the outside, but inside your thoughts are running, your heart is tightening, and your peace is slipping through your fingers. And the surprising part is this: half the time, nothing outside of you has changed. It's all happening within. You sit alone for a few minutes and suddenly your mind begins reminding you of every fear, every mistake, every uncertainty, every possibility that hasn't even occurred. It's almost as if your thoughts are chasing you, and instead of finding rest, you find noise. But let me remind you of something today. Your thoughts do not define you, and your struggles do not mean you are weak. Allah knows exactly what is happening inside your heart, the part of you that no one sees, no one hears, and no one understands fully. You may feel overwhelmed, but Allah is not overwhelmed by your situation. You may feel confused, but Allah is not confused about your future. So today I want to take you on a journey of understanding your mind, quieting your heart, and reconnecting with the one who brings peace even when everything inside you is shaking. My brothers and sisters, one of the biggest mistakes we make is assuming that every thought that appears in our mind must be true, must be important, and must be obeyed. That is not how the mind works. A thought is simply a message passing through. It is not a command. It is not a prophecy. It is not a verdict about your life. Sometimes your own mind throws ideas at you that you don't even believe, and that's normal. It doesn't mean you are sinful, it doesn't mean you are a bad person, and it doesn't mean you are losing control. It simply means you are human. You must remember that Shaitan takes advantage of these moments. He whispers doubts. He exaggerates your fears. He paints the worst possible scenario in your mind and makes you believe it's guaranteed to happen. If every whisper was the truth, Allah would not have taught us to verify information, to avoid suspicion, and to think good of others. Your thoughts need filters, just like you filter the water you drink. Not everything your mind produces deserves your attention. Think of your mind like a smartphone with hundreds of notifications popping up. You don't panic every time a notification appears. You don't open every random ad. You choose what matters. You swipe away what doesn't. Your thoughts are the same. They come and go. You decide which ones you engage with. When you give too much value to every thought, you hand over your peace, your emotions, and your future to something that is not even stable. The mind is a tool, not a ruler. You are supposed to use it, not surrender to it. So the next time a negative thought appears, instead of reacting immediately, pause. Ask yourself, is this coming from wisdom or from fear? Is this something Allah wants me to focus on, or is it just a whisper trying to disturb me? When you learn to question your thoughts instead of blindly trusting them, you take back control of your life. And that is when peace begins to return, slowly, gently, but surely. When you look closely at why people overthink, you will notice something very simple. Most of it is rooted in fear. Fear of what might happen tomorrow, fear of making the wrong decision, fear of losing something you love, fear of not being good enough, fear of being judged, fear of the unknown. Fear itself isn't the problem. Everyone feels fear. The problem begins when fear becomes the driver of your thoughts instead of a temporary visitor. Many of us sit alone and our mind begins to run. What if this goes wrong? What if I fail? What if people think badly of me? What if I'm not able to handle it? What if the future is worse than I expect? Notice something. All these fears are about things that have not even happened. And this is the trap Shaitan wants you to fall into. Worrying about imaginary scenarios so deeply that you forget the reality in front of you. But ask yourself honestly, who controls the future? Not you, not me, not your employer, your family, or society. Only Allah. So why do we behave as if we can predict everything? Why do we assume the worst outcome before anything has even occurred? Overthinking is often an attempt to take control of something you were never meant to control. You want certainty, you want guarantees, you want clarity before you take a step. But life doesn't work like that. Allah is the one who plans. Allah is the one who protects. Allah is the one who provides. Allah is the one who knows what you don't know. And if Allah has already written your future with His wisdom and His mercy, why exhaust yourself trying to rewrite what is already perfect? This doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. No. Islam teaches us to work hard, to think, to plan, to take responsibility. But once you've done your part, you let go. You don't carry the weight that belongs only to Allah. If you want your overthinking to decrease, start with this mindset. I will do what is in my control, and I will trust Allah with what is not. This one shift can change your emotional life completely. The truth is, the moment you stop trying to manage every outcome, your heart begins to breathe again. Your mind becomes lighter, and you start to realize that fear loses its power when you place your trust where it belongs, with Allah, the one who never fails you. My brothers and sisters, one of the reasons people drown in overthinking is because they place an unrealistic expectation on themselves. They want to solve their entire life today. Every problem, every fear, every relationship issue, every financial worry, every uncertainty about the future, all of it must be dealt with immediately. And when the mind faces a mountain of unresolved issues at the same time, it naturally panics. It becomes overwhelmed, confused, and exhausted because the human heart was never designed to carry the weight of tomorrow, next month, next year, and the distant future all at once. If you look at how Allah created the world, you will notice a divine pattern. Everything happens in stages. The sun rises gradually, not in one flash. Children grow slowly, not in one night. Even Revelation itself, the Quran, was revealed over many years, not in a single moment. This teaches us that progress, solutions, healing, and clarity all come in phases. Nothing valuable in life happens instantly, and nothing becomes perfect in one step. When a person tries to solve everything immediately, they are essentially fighting the natural rhythm of life that Allah created. Instead of flowing with that rhythm, they push against it. And that resistance causes internal tension. You end up thinking about 10 things at a time, and because your mind cannot find an answer to all of them, it keeps spinning in circles. This is why many people feel stuck, not because they lack intelligence or effort, but because they have overloaded themselves with unrealistic expectations. The first step toward mental peace is learning to break your life into manageable pieces. If there is something you can address today, do it today. If there is something that requires time, patience, or more information, leave it for later. Not everything deserves your immediate attention. Not everything is meant to be solved right now. Trying to fix the entire future in one day will only ruin the present. And remember, there is wisdom in Allah telling us to live day by day. The Prophet taught us not to be obsessed with tomorrow before it arrives. You focus on the responsibilities of today. You handle what is within your reach. You make dua, you seek guidance, and you trust Allah to unfold the next step at the right time. Life becomes lighter when you stop forcing clarity and start allowing Allah to guide you through each stage. When you slow down, when you deal with your issues one at a time, you'll begin to notice that many problems were smaller than they felt. Many fears were exaggerated by your imagination. Many worries were simply the result of mental overload. Overthinking fades when you give your mind permission to take things step by step, instead of demanding it to solve everything immediately. So give yourself room to breathe. Treat your mind with kindness. Let your life unfold the way Allah designed it, in steady, manageable, meaningful stages. When you do that, you will find that clarity returns, peace grows, and happiness rises quietly, just the way the sun rises every morning. One of the greatest struggles of the modern mind is that it keeps replaying the same negative thoughts again and again. You may try to distract yourself, you may try to forget, you may try to push the thought away, but it keeps returning, sometimes stronger than before. This cycle drains a person from the inside because your mind is repeating problems without offering solutions. When this happens, you need something more powerful than the thoughts themselves, something that can break the cycle instead of feeding it. And that is where dhikr comes in. Dhikr is not only for the elderly, not only for the masjid, not only for the spiritual moments when your life is calm. Dhikr is for the moments when your heart is unsettled, your mind is noisy, and you feel like you are losing control. Allah tells us clearly in the Quran that hearts find rest through His remembrance. This is not a poetic line, it is a psychological truth. The human mind cannot stay negative when the heart is busy remembering the one who created the mind. When your thoughts begin attacking you, instead of sitting there fighting them, give your heart something stronger to focus on. When you say, Hasbun Allahu wa ni'mal wakil, you are reminding yourself that you are not alone, that you are not carrying your burdens by yourself, that Allah is enough for you even when your circumstances are not. This statement becomes a shield around your heart. It doesn't magically remove the problem, but it weakens the power those thoughts have over you. Dhikr works because it shifts your mind from fear to trust. Instead of imagining every possible disaster, your heart begins to focus on the one who controls all outcomes. Instead of replaying old mistakes, you redirect your attention toward Allah's mercy. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you remind yourself that Allah sees you, hears you, and understands the struggle happening inside you even when nobody else does. And dhikr doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need long sessions or memorizing pages of supplications. Sometimes the simplest words have the deepest impact. Saying, Ya Allah, calm my heart, or Ya Rahman, have mercy on me, with sincerity can soften your heart in a way overthinking never will. You can repeat Astaghfirullah when you feel mentally tight, and you will notice your chest beginning to loosen. You can say Alhamdulillah when your thoughts are negative, and it gently reminds you of what is still good in your life. Some people think dhikr is a last resort, but in reality, dhikr should be the first step when your mind spirals. It is the anchor that brings you back to your center. Even if your thoughts don't stop immediately, dhikr slowly brings balance. It doesn't change your situation instantly, but it changes you. Your patience, your strength, your perspective. And once you change internally, the external problems become easier to navigate. Dhikr doesn't erase the challenges of life, but it equips your heart with the peace needed to face them. It reminds you that you are connected to the most powerful, the most merciful, the one who can turn your fears into courage and your worries into ease. When you fill your heart with the remembrance of Allah, there is simply no room left for the whispers of shaitan to control you. So the next time your thoughts begin to loop endlessly, don't let them decide the direction of your day. Replace the negative cycle with the remembrance of Allah, even if you start with just a few words. You will feel a shift, slow, steady, and real. Your heart will begin to settle. Your mind will become clearer and your life will feel lighter, all because you turned your attention to the one who never leaves your side. My brothers and sisters, many of us want peace, but we continue to surround ourselves with things that destroy that peace. We want a calm heart, but we constantly feed our mind material that does the opposite. If you fill a cup with dirty water, you can't expect to drink something clean. In the same way, if you expose your heart to negativity, comparison, arguments, and unfiltered information every day, you can't expect your mind to remain stable and your heart to remain strong. Today, our biggest input is not what we hear from family or friends, it is what we consume through our screens. With every swipe, with every scroll, with every video, every argument, every unrealistic lifestyle, every negative comment, you are feeding your mind something. Even if you think you are unaffected, your subconscious is absorbing it. It affects how you feel about yourself, how you see your life, how you view your future, and even how you understand your worth. People wonder why they feel anxious, sad, insecure, or unsettled, yet they spend hours watching content that triggers exactly those emotions. Social media has made comparison a daily addiction. You see the happiest 3 minutes of someone's life and compare it to your entire reality. You see someone's success and forget the years of struggle behind it. You see someone's beauty, lifestyle, wealth, or relationships and begin questioning why your life looks different. This constant comparison feeds overthinking more than anything else. And it's not just comparison, it's conflict. Many people follow pages that are filled with arguments, negativity, backbiting, public fights, and criticism. They watch drama every night, then wonder why their heart feels heavy every morning. You cannot fill your mind with chaos and expect peace to magically appear. Peace is a result of what you allow inside your heart. If you invite noise, you get noise. If you invite calm, you get calm. Islam teaches us to guard the heart. The Prophet ﷺ told us that in the body there is a piece of flesh which, if it is sound, the whole body becomes sound. And if it becomes corrupt, the whole body becomes corrupt. And that is the heart. But the heart does not become corrupted overnight. It gets damaged slowly, quietly, through the things we allow to influence us without even thinking. If you want to reduce overthinking, start by cleaning your inputs. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inferior, stressed, or restless. Stop watching people whose content brings negativity into your life. Avoid discussions that don't concern you. Limit interaction with individuals who constantly complain or criticize. Choose friends who speak with wisdom, not bitterness. Choose voices that remind you of Allah, not voices that pull you away from Him. Replacing negativity with positivity doesn't mean avoiding reality or living in a bubble. It means taking responsibility for what you allow to shape your mind. Just as you filter what you eat because you care about your physical health, you must filter what you consume mentally and spiritually because it directly affects your emotional health. When your heart is surrounded by good influences, uplifting reminders, beneficial knowledge, sincere company, inspiring stories, you will notice how your thinking becomes clearer and calmer. Your mind will stop jumping to the worst case scenario. Your heart will stop drowning in unnecessary fears, and your life will begin to feel more manageable, not because the problems disappeared, but because the noise that exaggerated them has finally been removed. Your heart deserves protection, your mind deserves peace, and you have far more control over your inputs than you think. When you choose what benefits your soul, Allah places tranquility in your life. When you choose wisely, you will see the difference not just in your thoughts, but in your entire state of being. There are moments in life when the weight inside your chest becomes too heavy to explain. You might sit with people who love you, but you still feel unable to express what is truly happening in your heart. Sometimes the thoughts are too complicated, sometimes they're too embarrassing, sometimes they feel too small to mention, and sometimes you simply don't want anyone to misunderstand you. This is why many people suffer quietly, not because they have no one around them, but because they feel that no one will fully understand what they are going through. But here is the comfort Islam gives you. Before you try to explain yourself to anyone, remember that Allah already understands you completely. Even before you form the words, even before the tear reaches your eyes, even before the fear becomes clear in your own mind, Allah knows it. He knows the struggle inside you, the confusion, the doubts, the hopes, the fears, everything. You don't need perfect sentences or dramatic expressions. You don't need to be strong in front of Him. You don't need to hide, pretend, or filter anything. You can speak to Him with honesty, even if that honesty sounds messy or incomplete. There will be times when you feel emotionally tired, when your thoughts are scattered, when your heart feels tight but you don't know why. These are the moments when you must sit down, lower your head, and simply talk to Allah. Tell Him, Ya Allah, my mind is overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. But so please guide me. Speaking to Allah brings a kind of relief that no conversation with a human being can match, because He understands not only your words, but the pain behind your words, the silence between your sentences, and the worries you haven't yet learned to express. Many people think dua must be formal, memorized, and structured, but some of the most sincere duas are the ones that sound simple and raw. You can say, Ya Allah, help me. You can say, Ya Allah, calm my heart. You can say, Ya Allah, I feel alone. These words may seem small, but when they come from a sincere heart, they rise to the heavens with immense weight. Allah hears every whisper and responds in ways you may not always notice immediately, but you will feel the ease gradually settling into your life. Talking to Allah has another benefit. It removes the pressure of pretending to be okay. With people, you often worry about judgment, misunderstanding, or being a burden. With Allah, there is no such fear. He doesn't become tired of you. He doesn't get annoyed with you. He doesn't roll his eyes when you repeat the same problems. In fact, the more you turn to Him, the more He loves you. The doors of mercy are always open, day and night, in sadness and happiness, in confusion and clarity. And remember something very important. You don't only speak to Allah to get answers. You speak to Him because the act of turning to Him itself is healing. Whether you see the result immediately or not, every sincere dua softens your heart, cleanses your mind, and brings you closer to Him. Sometimes Allah delays the solution because the process of coming back to Him is more important for your growth than the solution itself. When you make talking to Allah a habit, not only during crises, but even during the small moments of your day, you begin to develop a relationship with Him that strengthens you from within. You start to notice that your mind becomes less chaotic, your heart becomes more stable, and your life becomes more manageable. Not because the challenges vanished, but because your connection with the one who controls all affairs became stronger. So whenever your thoughts become too heavy and you feel like there is no one you can truly open up to, remember this: the one who created your heart understands it better than anyone else. Speak to Him, cry to Him, whisper to Him. He is always near, always listening, always responding, and His response is always filled with wisdom and mercy. My brothers and sisters, one of the greatest deceptions of Shaitan is making you believe that you are broken simply because you struggle internally. He whispers to you that something is wrong with you, that you are weak, that you are failing, that you are different from everyone else. But Allah, the most merciful, never labels you that way. In fact, many of the thoughts and emotions you consider problems are actually signs that you are growing, learning, and becoming more self-aware. People with soft hearts feel deeply. People with a sense of responsibility think a lot. People who care about their future reflect on their choices. These qualities are strengths, but when they become unbalanced, they can overwhelm you. That does not make you damaged. It simply means you're at a stage of your life where you need guidance, structure, and trust in Allah to channel these qualities in the right direction. Think about a seed before it becomes a tree. It must break open underground in a place of complete darkness. If you looked at it at that moment, you might think it is being destroyed. But in reality, that breaking is exactly what allows it to grow. In the same way, the confusion, the overthinking, the emotional pressure you feel right now, these may very well be part of your growth process, not signs of your failure. Sometimes Allah allows discomfort not to punish you, but to teach you. He allows certain thoughts to rise to the surface so you become aware of areas that need healing. He allows certain fears so you learn reliance on Him. He allows a bit of internal chaos so you stop depending solely on yourself. Growth rarely feels comfortable while it is happening, but when you look back later, you realize it was shaping you into a stronger, wiser, and more grounded version of yourself. You must also remember that even the most pious servants of Allah felt sadness and worry. Prophet Yaqub, AAs, cried until his eyesight weakened. Prophet Musa, AAs, fled in fear when he felt threatened. Maryam, AS, felt deep emotional distress during childbirth. If these beloved servants of Allah experienced heavy emotions, who are we to think that feeling overwhelmed makes us broken? What matters is not whether you struggle. Everyone struggles. What matters is how you respond to the struggle. Do you turn to Allah? Do you seek clarity? Do you try to improve? Do you carry hope even if it feels small? These are signs not of weakness but of resilience. When you label yourself as broken, you become harsh toward yourself. You lose patience with your own healing. You judge yourself instead of supporting yourself. But when you remind yourself that you are growing, you begin to treat your journey with compassion. You give yourself space to make mistakes. You allow yourself to be human. You recognize that you're a work in progress, and Allah already knows that. Allah does not expect you to be perfect. He expects you to try. He expects you to pray. He expects you to keep moving, even if your steps are small. And every small step you take, He counts it, He appreciates it, He rewards it, and He helps you through the next one. So the next time your thoughts tell you that you are broken, remind yourself you are simply in a phase of transformation. Your heart is learning, your faith is strengthening, your character is maturing. Growth is not easy, but it is beautiful when you trust Allah through the process. You are not broken, my brothers and sisters. You are becoming someone stronger, someone wiser, someone closer to Allah, and that journey is worth every moment of struggle. Many people today feel unhappy, not because their life is terrible, but because they are chasing an idea of happiness that doesn't even exist. They believe that to be happy, everything in their mind must be silent. Everything in their life must be perfect. Every relationship must be smooth. Every plan must go exactly as expected. This belief is not only unrealistic, it is one of the main reasons people feel constantly disappointed. Islam teaches us something very different. Happiness is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of purpose, faith, and the understanding that Allah is with you through every phase of your life. Even the most beloved people to Allah, the prophets, faced hardship after hardship. If happiness required perfection, then they would have been the first ones spared from difficulty. Yet they experienced grief, loneliness, fear, sadness, and uncertainty. What made their lives beautiful was not perfection, but their connection with Allah in the middle of imperfection. We tend to forget that the human mind will always produce thoughts. Some positive, some negative, some worrying, some hopeful. You cannot switch that off. Even the companions of the Prophet ﷺ came to him and said they had thoughts they were ashamed of. And what did he say? He told them that such whispers are a sign of faith because they bothered them only due to the strength of their belief. The problem is not the presence of difficult thoughts. The problem is believing that those thoughts mean something is wrong with you. Real happiness comes from accepting that life will always have moments of confusion, sadness, stress, and uncertainty, and knowing that Allah does not leave you alone in any of those moments. When you understand that your struggles do not disqualify you from happiness, your heart becomes lighter, you stop fighting reality, and you start working with it, trusting that Allah is guiding you even when you don't see the full picture. True happiness comes from meaning. Knowing why you wake up, knowing who you rely on, knowing what you stand for, knowing that your life is leading you toward Allah. When your life is driven by meaning, the small frustrations stop controlling you. You begin to realize that everyone has problems. The difference is how they interpret them. A believer sees hardship as a test, a lesson, a doorway to Allah's mercy, not as a sign of failure. And this perspective changes everything. When a negative thought comes, instead of panicking, you say, "This is temporary." When life becomes stressful, instead of falling apart, you remind yourself, "Allah is with me." When plans don't work out, instead of assuming the worst, you say, "Allah has something better." This mindset does not remove the challenges, but it gives you strength that challenges cannot shake. Happiness in Islam is rooted in trust. Trust in Allah's timing, trust in His wisdom, trust in His promise that after hardship comes ease. You might not see the ease immediately, but it is there written for you, waiting for the right moment. And when you live with this certainty, even your thoughts lose their power to frighten you. So don't wait for your mind to become perfectly silent before you allow yourself to be happy. Don't wait for your life to become flawless before you feel grateful. Don't wait for every fear to disappear before you breathe. Happiness grows in imperfect conditions. It grows when you remember Allah, when you appreciate the small blessings, when you trust your journey, and when you stop comparing your life to a fantasy that no one is actually living. Your happiness is already within your reach. not in perfection, but in meaning, purpose, and the constant awareness that Allah is with you, guiding you through every step. My brothers and sisters, if there is one thing you take away from this message, let it be this: you are not alone in your struggle, and you are not failing simply because your thoughts become loud. Even the strongest hearts tremble, even the calmest souls have storms, and even the most faithful believers face moments of confusion. That is part of being human. But you have something many people overlook. You have Allah. You have the one who understands the thoughts you can't express, the tears you don't shed, the fears you try to hide, and the battles you fight silently. Allah sees the effort no one acknowledges. He rewards the patience no one notices, and He heals the wounds no one knows exist. So when your mind becomes heavy, return to Him. When your thoughts attack you, remember Him. When fear grips your heart, trust Him. You don't need to have everything figured out. You only need to take the next step, make the next prayer, speak the next dua, and allow Allah to guide the rest. May Allah fill your heart with peace, protect you from the whispers that disturb your mind, grant you clarity in your decisions, and bless you with happiness that lasts, not because your life is perfect, but because He is with you through every imperfect moment. Ameen.